got here. This was a focused effort by the radical socialist left to undermine the rule of law every chance they could. It was a focused and well-funded effort by the left to go around the country and fund candidates for district attorney and attorneys general so that they could undermine the rule of law, so that they could pick and choose what laws they wanted to enforce. And that is not what the criminal justice system is supposed to be about. And then we allowed them to take over cities, one-party rule in a city and state like New York. And you see the results. You see sanctuary states and sanctuary cities where illegals get driver's licenses and benefits. You see bail reform, which creates a revolving door justice system. You see discovery reform, which is probably the most underreported outrage of any legislation that this state has passed. You see the closing of Rikers Island, which is one of the most ridiculous things that one can imagine. This city is the envy of every city because we have our entire jail system on an island, not in people's neighborhoods. And then locally, we have the anti-crime units, the plainclothes units, disbanded. Those units take the overwhelming majority of guns off the streets and make us more safe than we possibly could ever have imagined back in the 80s and 90s. And they basically dismantled that unit and sent the officers back to full uniform. And then finally, we have this defund the police movement, which has been championed by my opponent, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And when they asked her about it, she didn't think that $1 billion was enough. And she said that we need to experiment. I have a message for my opponent. I was part of the experiment back in the 80s and 90s. I was on the street of this city as a member of the New York City Police Department in 83, in 84, in 85, when we were doing nearly 2,000 murders per year, and we were doing 100,000 robberies per year. And we had to go around and tell people who lived in the first and second floor of tenements to have their children sleep in the bathtubs to avoid stray bullets. We do not want to return to that, and we need to get these people out of office. So finally, as has been mentioned, we need to elect people who support police around this country. Nobody wants unsafe streets, especially with schools reopening. And that is most important. I would call on all elected officials, particularly at the city level, to reinstate the anti-crime units before these schools open. Our streets are going to be flooded with children and teenagers who need to get to and from school safely. And I have talked to many people, educators, administrators around this district, and many parents are opting out of education in person, and they are going to remote learning, not because of the coronavirus, but because our streets are not safe, and that is unacceptable. And I will leave you with this. Ladies and gentlemen, our best way to end all of this, as has been stated before, is to vote. I ask all of you, when you leave here, find out this week if you're registered. If you're not, please register. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your families, because if you don't vote in this election, I don't know how many free elections there will be left to vote in. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, God bless the New York City Police Department, God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.